All right, good morning, everybody. It's 8:30. We'll call this morning's meeting of the Clay County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, October 14th. Our first item is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Bear, second by Commissioner Mojo. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens to be heard?
Mr. Chair?
Items not on the agenda. Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you. Item 1A is a letter that I and Administrator Larson received from a citizen wishing to have their comments entered into the record. So if any questions on that, but otherwise you all have it and just put it into the record.
All right, and that will be submitted into the record as part of today's packet. And I will note on there that there was some concerns with the cannabis that we dealt with at our meeting last week. However, this basically what we did in our meeting was dealt with multiple sites, and this one was referring to one particular site and having real concerns about it. And all of those concerns that are raised in this letter, they can raise through the public hearing process with the Planning Commission. So that's kind of where that's at right now. All right, any other citizens' comments? Any other citizens to be heard? Online, any?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, all right, we will move on then to the approval of bills and vouchers.
I move for the approval of the bills and vouchers.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebbinger and second by Commissioner Kravinoff. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. All right, our 8:35 item is request approval of the 2026-2027 Minnesota Family Investment Program, also known as MFIP, Biennial Service Agreement. Good morning, Quinn.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Karen and I are here today to request approval of the 26-27 MFIP Biennial Service Agreement with the Minnesota Department of Human Services. Every 2 years, counties are required to submit a BSA to DHS, a lot of acronyms this morning for you, to outline the administration and service delivery of the Minnesota Family Investment Program, or MFIP. That's the Cash Assistance Program and Diversionary Work Program. The BSA serves as the county's formal plan to meet the statutory requirements and rules. The 26-27 BSA includes updated service models, partnerships, and performance strategies. However, it is important to note that the Diversionary Work Program will only be in effect through March of 2026. They're getting rid of that program and going to the straight MFIP program as the program is being phased out. After that point, all new referrals will be served solely through MFIP. This plan also meets the requirement for public review and transparency. As a part of the development process, we held a 30-day public comment period by posting the draft plan on our website. The 26-27 BSA continues our efforts to deliver proactive, person-centered employment supports across MFIP, teen parents, and services to low-income working families. It was created in partnership with Rural Minnesota SEP. DHS does require formal county board approval prior to submitting this. We would submit it tomorrow if approved here today. The BSA really outlines the use of our existing MFIP consolidated fund allocation. To kind of give you a little background of what we use the money for at Social Services, the grants allocation funds our emergency assistance dollars, approximately $139,000 in admin revenue, and an additional $64,730 for in-home services for families that are 200% below federal poverty level. I did ask SEP to kind of prepare a presentation for the work that they do, so I'll be bringing that to you later this month as well. That kind of ties along with this BSA. But with that, I would yield for any questions that you may have.
Questions? Okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve. Yes, Commissioner Ebbinger.
I move that we approve the 2026-27 2627 Minnesota Family Investment Program Biennial Service Agreement and authorize submission of the Minnesota Department of Human Services.
All right, we have a motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Ebinger, second by Commissioner Kravenhoft. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right. Thank you, Quinn. All right, next we have notice of intent to sell Fargo-Moorhead area excess flood diversion project land.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. As you are aware, through the project of the FM diversion, they had to acquire different properties in order to establish the project. As they move through that project, there's been land that becomes available because it's no longer needed, and there's a policy which they follow from that. You have had several different items on your consent agenda previously in excess land because all of those properties have been in North Dakota. Today, there's a property that is located in Minnesota, and so the first item through the policy is that the different entities through the partnership are able to have first access to that. We have 30 days to determine whether or not we would, as a county, be interested in those, and so that is the reason why this agenda item is before you today. With that, I yield for any questions.
And so what we're wondering here is if there would be any use on the part of the county,
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
so. And I guess I'm of the opinion we should try to put this back into the tax-paying public's hands. All right, so in the past, we had it on consent, so do we need a motion then to just say we have no interest, right?
That is correct.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion that Clay County does not have any interest on this property.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Bear, second by Commissioner Ebinger. Any further discussion on the motion?
One question regarding this. So if we do not claim it, does it go on sale for anybody, or does it?
So I think within your packet, there's a,
Page 44 has the outline of what, how
There's
to
a-
dispose the
there's a-
manner of.
yeah, so it would go, the second option would be the preference to the landowner from which it was purchased.
Yeah.
And it will go to the adjacent landowner, and then it would go to a open bidding process.
And the sales price does not change between each of those?
That's correct.
Well, the sale price can change if it goes to public auction.
Yeah. But not offered to those other two.
And then there's been a couple of instances, and I believe we did some land, Commissioner Mojo, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think on some of the land down by Horace on the North Dakota side, the Diversion Authority opted to go with a realtor. And that's somewhat is out of line with the typical process, but
Correct.
it was agreed upon through the whole process to move forward in that direction, so. Because we couldn't, there was a whole bunch of parcels that were kind of attached to this one long, narrow strip. And they couldn't get all of the neighboring partners to agree, so they figured the best thing to do was to have a realtor deal with it, so. All right, we didn't vote on that yet, have we? All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried, all right.
Mr. Chair, could I just ask for some
Yes.
clarification? I would anticipate that unless there's land that came up that was of great interest to the county, that the likelihood that this board would make a decision to purchase something. For future Minnesota properties, would it be okay to put on consent? And then in the event that you guys would want to discuss it, you could pull it from there?
I guess the only time where I think it might be of interest to us, if a property is bordering a county or state road. that we just might want to review it to make sure that there might be, not be some easement opportunities for us for, in the future. But other than that, I don't see any reason why. Commissioner Mojo.
Mr. Chair, just because it is on the Minnesota side, I just think for the public, I would prefer that it not be on consent, just as a regular agenda item, but,
Yeah, and I don't,
I would agree with Commissioner Mojo.
and I say that not because I think that there's a great interest that we would want to purchase any of it, but I just think for the public's awareness, it might be more visible
that
that
it's
way.
available, that it could be available is what you're saying.
I just think it would be more visible if it's on as an agenda item.
All right, well, let's have it as an agenda item. Works for me.
When it's on the Minnesota side.
Correct.
All right, next we have request to adjust the Clay County Board of Commissioners meeting schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier this fall, we set the Truth and Taxation meeting for December 2nd. Became aware that we would not have all 5 commissioners present in Clay County that day, and so the request before the board would be to consider to move the board meeting and Truth and Taxation meeting times. The meeting for the board meeting would go back to our 8:30 timeframe, and the Truth and Taxation would move from December 2nd to December 16th. And then we would look to finalize the budget on December 23rd. And then, a second item, the auditor's office, we have 5 Tuesdays in December, and their request would be that we have a board meeting so they can pay the bills to end the year. With that, I'd yield for a discussion.
Well, I'm the culprit. I'll be gone on
Okay.
December 2nd, so just,
Just a question that I have, since the COVID thing on, what's the possibility of using virtual every now and then? I'll only throw that.
well, in terms of for the Truth and Taxation hearing,
Well, or anything down the road as an option, but I don't mind moving them.
oh, yeah,
It's
mean,
still available.
Yeah, I can-
Remote is still available under the same rules as
Yeah,
was
and so
established,
ma-
so.
yeah,
I'm not sure about
maybe-
truth taxation side of things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
board meetings
Yeah.
regularly would be.
And I don't mind that, but I guess the one I'm coming from, I'm gone on the 28th, so would I be able to use virtual is what I'm asking.
My understanding is as long as it's advertised location, that's fine.
Correct, yeah. They were changed the open meeting laws this session, which would allow you guys to, as long as there's sight and visual,
yeah, I don't think you even have to advertise location.
that's correct, yep.
I think it's just sight and
Alright.
sound that has to be
Yeah.
available.
All the other dates work.
Well, either way, for December 2nd, where I'm gonna be at, I'm not gonna be available through sight or sound either, so.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's up to you guys. If you wanna hold that Truth and Taxation on the 2nd, I just wouldn't be there for it, so.
I think it's important to have the chair
I
present.
do too.
All right,
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adjust the Clay County Board of Commissioners meeting schedule.
I will second.
okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Bear, and I heard Commissioner Ebinger first as the second, so any further discussion? And that's as outlined here, which would include the
Yes,
5th Tuesday.
adding the 30th.
8:30. And that's kind of at the request of our auditor treasurer too, so, all right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. We are ahead of schedule. That's a rarity.
Take a break?
Maybe we
Here's
can,
Rita. Rita just walked in.
Yeah, that's fine.
okay, all right, all right. All right, so do we have any, if we were looking at item number 6, do we have any additional information on item number 6 today, Steve?
Yes, I might.
Okay, I mean, we'll Commissioner Mojo, do you want to go?
Thank you. So in regards to item number 6, last week I attended the FMWF Chamber public policy meeting, and just in kind of discussing with Kale and Shannon their projects and focus for the next year. Somehow we identified the fact that last year we actually allocated $100,000 to the chamber, and this year in our proposal, we had switched that around and talked about $85,000. And so I think part of the confusion, and maybe it was on my part, and I apologize for not bringing it forward sooner, is I thought with that joint ask, because of the percentages that the EDC and the chamber got, I thought that the chamber actually had received the 85, not 100. And I guess where I'm coming from to this board is that cut would be substantial to the chamber based on what they use for the lobbyist component and the other Minnesota work. And brought it to Steve's attention and wanted to bring it back to this board. I don't believe it was our intention from any of the dialogue that we had to cut allocation to the chamber, and just wanted to bring it forward to this board for further discussion.
Well, I guess I didn't think, I had no intention of cutting the chambers either. I guess I had those numbers backwards then, because I thought the chamber is what received the 85, so.
And I did too. I did make sure Shannon did check with accounting right after that, and it was the 100. And I think part of maybe the confusion that came forward is in February or March, we had a discussion to withhold payment to the entities because we wanted to see some further work, and had discussed separating the proposals. And again, I'm sorry, if that confusion came from me or whoever, but it was not my intention to cut their allocation.
Commissioner Everett.
Yeah, and I recall the discussion, I think was an honest mistake. I don't think anybody on the commission here had an intention of cutting the chamber's allotment. We did reassign a lot of the money that was going to the EDC, but what we're doing here, Steve, it'll still be $10,000 to the EDC.
That's, yes, that's the decision the board had previously made. That's correct.
Okay, and then to keep it all in balance, it would be $100,000 to the chamber.
Yeah, we've already sent notification to the Greater Fargo-Moorhead EDC about the 10,000, so I don't want to go back on that. So.
No, and so my proposal to this board is if you'd be okay holding the line at the 100,000 for the chamber. Obviously, we've already set a preliminary levy, but we have realized some savings in some areas. But again, there would be cuts that we would see visible if we decreased the allotment there.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Mojo, if there is a consensus, because it wasn't on the agenda, I could bring it back next week, if that's the board's wishes.
Let's do that.
I did have two just small other items, and one just for your notification, the other maybe for your feedback. Last week when Quinn was present, we talked about a licensing increase through the state of Minnesota. That was a new revenue. They received some additional information that there would be an additional $59,000. So the licensing is right around $189,000. There's another miscellaneous expense that came with that, but so there'll be an additional $59,000 that we'll be able to adjust the levy based on the 5.73 that we talked about last week. The other item that I just wanted to touch base with you, we've talked about the cost of paid family medical leave from the county's perspective in the tax. We pay half of that, the employee pays half. The other issue that comes with that is there's a potential for a revenue when those staff are out on leave for the time being that they're on paid family medical. And so the current budget that we have does not have a potential revenue replacement for that. Again, the challenging part is we don't really know when someone's going to be out. But from the, I guess, the challenges that we're having with this budget, would wonder if there would be a appetite from the board to provide some sort of revenue replacement that we would receive from the state as part of the 2026 budget.
How do we receive revenue on that?
Because basically they pay, well, it won't be a revenue, it would be a net, we wouldn't be paying for the employees.
So it's
It's an expense.
reduction in
Yeah,
expense?
Correct.
Okay, okay. All right.
So we would have a line item that would specifically guesstimate, probably very light, at least this first year, to see what the impact would be. But this past year, I think we've had 17 people that have gone on maternity or paternity leave by itself, and so not including any of the significant health issues that people have been out. So
is there a potential for lost revenue? For example, if we have in our social service department where we have part of what their pay is reimbursed from the federal government. So if we're not paying them, do we not see that revenue either?
I suspect that if there's not someone in that caseload, we could lose revenue also. Yeah.
So I mean, we got to be careful that might not end up being a wash.
I think I'd let it go a year and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think there's also the chance of us losing billable revenue. I don't know, unless maybe Gwen has a different thought on that. But all right, anything else that we want to talk about? We can come back to this item too. I think it's. Let's see, Rita, do we have everybody here now that you? Are you ready to go? All right, then let's move to our 8:55 item and our 2025 Clay County Employee United Way campaign presentation.
Okay.
All right, who's going to kick this off? Rita, are you going to kick this off?
Good morning. Thank you for having us. I have my power hitters with me this morning. I'm so grateful to have them in my corner, and they're very supportive, and I appreciate that. I'm going to have everybody quick introduce themselves.
Lorraine Gaden, I work over at Social Services.
My name is Madison Maids, and I work at United Way of Cass Clay.
Kirsten Lepard, Social Services.
James O'Donnell from the Juvenile Center.
All right, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you. Last year, our campaign was not what I was hoping it would be, but we did great. We raised a total of $12,504. Employee contributions of that amount was $9,246. The rest of it was raised by special events. James?
Yeah, for special events, we had bake sales.
James, can you turn that mic? There you go. Thank you.
For special events, we had bake sales and different events in different departments did own separate things. And between all the departments and stuff, we were able to raise an additional $3,258.
Also, this past year, Clay County employees participated in the school supply drive. That brought approximately 45 pounds of backpacks, pencils, paper, glue sticks, markers, and other supply items needed for helping children start their school year off prepared.
On September 9th of this year, many departments participated in the Gobble It Up for United Way, which is sponsored by the local Hornbacher stores.
We continue with activities. Yesterday, the Government Center had a bake sale, and there was 6 items left when I left this morning to come over here, and we're over $500 on that. So our 2025 events are underway. Ray's gonna tell you about hers.
Yeah. At the Family Service Center, we'll be doing a bake sale as well, which will be October 21st. We start at 8 a.m. and we go till 1 p.m. for that. So if you're looking for some sweet treats, head on over next Tuesday.
And the juvenile center will be putting on a taco feed again. That's on the 23rd. So stop over and get your fill.
3rd of October.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't been to their taco luncheon thing, you gotta
Pretty
go.
good, isn't it?
You gotta go. It could be a restaurant. It's pretty good.
And now I'm going to turn it over to Madison to talk about the campaign for this year.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you too for all of your guys' support and partnership on this. It sounds like your campaign is amazing, and I really appreciate everything that you do for United Way Cass Clay. As you guys might know, United Way is committed to understanding the local needs of families and supporting over 40 programs across 30 different nonprofit organizations right here within Cass and Clay counties. United Way knows that poverty is not just one thing. Today in our community, families are struggling with housing, hunger, childcare, family-sustaining jobs, all at the same time. United Way focuses on 3 main areas: preparing children to succeed, strengthening families, and preventing hunger and homelessness. United is the way that we know that we can end poverty, but it takes commitment from people like you, and it takes commitment from campaigns like the ones that you have. So today we're going to share with you our 2025 campaign video. Before we do that, I would like to introduce some of the people that you're going to meet this morning. You are going to meet a little boy named Lucas. He lives right here in our community. He has dark brown hair, dark eyes. Every morning he wakes up in his home and is greeted by his mom and his grandma. His home is warm in the wintertime. They have food in the fridge, and it's full of possibilities. We know that this story is only possible because of the impact that United Way made in the lives of his mom, Tara, and Lucas, and the support that they received for childcare, for housing, and to complete her education so that she can be a social worker right here in our community today. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you our 2025 campaign video.
When I look back on what I've gone through, it really is surreal to me, being in awe of everything. When I look back on what I've gone through, it really is surreal to me, being in awe of everything I came from and went through into where I am today. I grew up in a home where my dad was a very angry alcoholic, so you tiptoed around the home. My mom was my rock. My mom never missed a game, a practice, a concert. She knew how important that was to her kids. The home life was just so difficult for me. Between alcohol and marijuana, it was a constant high. There was a period there from 18 to 22 where there was not a moment I was sober. At 22, I had been pulled over. I had enough on me to go to jail and serve some time. In that moment, it was really like somebody's watching over me to give me this chance, and I need to take it. I quickly finished my 2-year degree in my hometown, and I moved up to Fargo to start that 4-year degree. As soon as I got up here, I found out I was pregnant. My son's father, we weren't gonna ever be together. He struggled with addiction as well. It was that moment becoming pregnant that very quickly I was like, yep, I'm done. This baby deserves a lot better than that. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna work multiple jobs. I'm gonna be able to support my son alone up here. Quickly found out that's not sustainable. You can't work multiple jobs and be a single mom and go to school. I entered into the Jeremiah program, got to be in their housing. They supported me through college. I am the first within my family to actually achieve success and be able to give that to my son.
Tara was always confident and strong and ready to take this step. She had so many goals, and she just needed the extra support to be able to get there.
Right out of college, I got my dream job at Cass Human Service Zone, and I work as a social worker helping you know, try to keep families together. Now I have a home that is fully furnished. It's not just a house, it's something I get to call home.
This transformation in Tara is incredible. She is out in the community making a huge difference in her work, in her involvement in the community, and with Lucas, who is doing so well and is so adjusted.
He gets to focus on what it's like to be a child versus what I had to go through and be scared of my home. Giving to United Way is what makes it all possible. When you give to them, they can continue to be in the community to fill the gap and support and, you know, raise families out of poverty and be more successful like I am. United is the way.
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 We engage in partnership with volunteers, with donors, with companies that come alongside us.
Reducing homelessness or reducing hunger or helping kids to be ready to become adults and to have great lives.
When there is a big community issue that we need to solve, we do that collectively using the tools and the resources and the ideas and strategies that we know are proven to make a difference.
We focus on identifying the right grants and the right organizations that align to the goals that we've defined for our community.
That's the way that donors and volunteers and the folks that we work alongside can trust in us to have the greatest impact in our community.
From the time you donate to the time that that dollar gets to the right place in the community, it moves through a process. Where can I put that dollar? Where can I maximize that dollar to get the best benefit, but in the areas of our community that need it the most?
I would say that if you have it in your heart to give, just start. I'm very proud to give to United Way. It's such a wonderful organization. They do such a great job.
United is the way.
United is the way.
United is the way.
United is the way.
So you got to meet Tara and Lucas, and you got to see their smiling faces in their home. For us, that's just the incredible reminder of the importance of our work and the impact that it makes in the lives of people in our community. For Tara, United Way was able to look at her barriers as a whole and put the right partners in the right places at the right time to create the impact in her life. Because of that, the cycle of poverty stops with Tara and Lucas. They get to be productive, active members of our community. And we know that their story is only possible because of United Way, but we also know that there are so many more stories that we can tell, and we can't do that without your support. At the core of United Way is the belief that everyone deserves the support and opportunities to make their lives better, kids, adults, and people like us. Many of us in this room have given before, and I want to say thank you. You make it possible to continue the work that we do. If you haven't given before, I would like to ask you to consider a gift this year so that we can continue the work that we do and make these changes in people's lives. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Madison. So that's why I do here what we do, because it makes a difference, and there's visible signs in our community that these dollars are not leaving. They're staying here and they're raising our people up. So that's why I'm passionate about United Way. Our campaign on Friday, all employees will get an email from me advising that there will be a United Way email coming out on Monday to start a campaign for the employee contributions. So that email will go out on Friday to remind everybody not to send it to Fish. And then on Monday, the email will come out approximately 10 o'clock, I believe, straight from United Way with the campaign links on it. So we've got activities lined up, we got the campaign underway, and we're just here to let you know what's going on. Thank you for the exposure that you give us to the employees and the county and the public, to let them know that we aren't just a scary government office someplace, that we care about people and we're doing for our community what we can. If anybody has any questions, we're ready for questions. Otherwise, I don't think we have anything else to add.
I'm wondering about this video. Is this something that we can showcase through our website or something for our employees or whatever for a while, while you're going through the
Sure.
enrollment period?
I can work with Tim and get that as
How
a
do we do
link
that?
and a notification on our website.
I'm sure all of our county employees are really busy right now and not able to watch this meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, that I've always thought it's important that employees understand that our administration is supportive of this program. And so I think that's a strong signal that when they know that administration is connected, they feel more empowered to also give. So that's part of the reason I come here and grace you guys with my bad voice and bad jokes.
It's like Darren.
Well, thank you. And you're kind of lead a good charge for all the county employees, so thank you.
Thank you, and I always think, you know what, the government center I have, Greg and Tracy that are always willing to help me, and then James and Kristen and Lorraine too have always been so supportive, so they make my job easier, and I appreciate that and thank them very much too. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, just quickly, I just want to step back to item number 6 and see if anybody else had any additional items of discussion on the budget for this morning. All right. Yes, Commissioner Ebinger.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just an observation on the discussion we had about possible loss of federal funding should an employee that's getting in a position that's substantially paid to some degree on that.
Usually 50%.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Quinn, would we be paid for the work getting done? Or does that have to be sustained by an employee who's assigned to that position? In other words, if there's somebody catching the work when the employee is out on family leave, would that meet the requirements of our grant as to not present a loss of funding to the county as a whole?
It's going to depend completely on what role they're doing. So some of it's going to be the cost pool that we talked about. So basically, we get 50% of their salary. In those positions, we're likely to still receive that revenue. However, if it's something where we're billing, as the chair said, if it's billable time, we may not realize that revenue. So if we have somebody out on leave and they're not performing their functions in those other positions, we will lose the revenue if they're not doing the work, essentially. So it's going to be completely dependent upon that position and how the funds come in.
Maybe another way that Dave might be asking the question is, if the work is being made up by another person, would it qualify for?
If the billable work is being made up by other people, yes, we will take in that revenue. It's going to be a capacity issue, obviously, at that point in time. Are they going to be able to do the work of 2 people? Probably not, but we will still get some of that revenue back.
Realistically, the loss won't be entire.
That would be fair to say, yes. Wouldn't be an entire loss.
Is it fair to ask a speculative amount on your part? Yeah, I know. I'm just throwing this out there as a determination of whether we want to try and estimate this year, or as Commissioner Bear recommended, we wait and see for this year and look next year.
I'd want to run some numbers on that before I answer that question. We certainly can look at that and see what a projection could look like, but I don't want to tell you and be wrong.
I appreciate that, and that's something, I don't want this board to feel like we're calling the shots on that. That's something you and Steve and the other department heads need to look at, and if you're comfortable with coming in here and saying we think we can project the funding that will come in on this, that's great. If not, we can wait a year, see what time tells.
Well, I agree with Commissioner Bear too. I think there's just too many variables. There are probably some, just from a budgeting standpoint on that, there probably are some expenditure savings when the person is gone, but at the same point in time, there might be some revenue losses while the employee's gone. So, and there's just too many variables. I think it would be a nightmare from HR department to even try to calculate something at this point. Do you have a comment?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there's gonna be a savings somewhere. It's just that there's, like you said, there's so many unknown variables. We don't know who's gonna go out. We don't know how long they're gonna go out. You know, like Steve said, we had 17 paternity, maternity people out last year. That doesn't even include the people that were out for serious illness and everything. So I think there's going to be savings. It's just determining how much that is gonna be really a guess at this point. And I think Commissioner Barra is right that we probably let this run for a year and see where we are. Because we're pretty consistent, I think, over the years. But with this being a new program, I think we let it run for a year and see where we go. And we can maybe template it out a little bit better.
I would agree with that. It's good to hear it from staff, though. But I think Commissioner Bear's suggestion is borne up from what I'm hearing from both our staff members, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, we'll go to our committee reports. We'll start with, I started with you last time? All right, and then we'll go with Commissioner Ebinger.
Thank you. On the 7th, Tuesday, all of us were at the Rural Cities and County meeting at the Dilworth Fire Station. It's always good to hear from our county leaders on the advances that their cities are making, and as usual, they're doing well. It's good to see the energy that we've got in our rural city areas. I had an update from Sheriff Empting. Our department heads, a number of them came forward. We had discussion on the cannabis development that we had during the last week's commission meeting. Overall, it was just a good meeting. We had the regular reports from the department directors, and it proceeded well. On Thursday, the 9th, I attended the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon meeting. There were a number of groups that couldn't report in because of the current federal budgeting issues, and folks aren't at work. We continue with Fargo VA. That position is vacant because of some of the cutbacks. There's just general discussions coming in on some of the activities that are taking place with the at MSUM's campus, and we heard from the Veterans Resource Outreach Director on that, and it was then general business. On Friday the 10th, I attended a meeting with Rory Beal and Administrator Larson to discuss a meeting that we've got coming up for the new Partnership for Public Health that we're putting together. The meeting's going to be on the 15th. We'll be meeting with Becker County. We'll be discussing and agreeing to, hopefully, the delegation agreements, the bylaws, and the joint power agreements. As part of that discussion, we are moving forward with a new composition of the board, which requires we have 2 commissioners who have voting authority. And I'd like to move at this point that Commissioner Bear's position go from an alternate to another voting member. Although this team won't be composed on paper until January 1, we are going to have to vote on these joint power agreements and delegation agreements and the new bylaws. So that'll be this week, and I would like to make a motion that Commissioner Bear go from an alternate on that to a full voting member. There'll be 2 of us.
I'll offer that motion.
I think he made the motion.
Oh, second.
All right, so Commissioner Ebinger moved, second by Commissioner Mojo, to have our second delegate to the, what's it called, Public Health.
Partnership for Health.
Partnership for Health
Partnership for
with
Public
Becker
Health.
County.
Mhm.
Commissioner Bear, any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign, and that will take effect immediately.
And also, in further business, the Cass Clay Homeless Committee has been put together, composed of a lot of people, including, as we saw United Way today. They're a senior partner in that, along with the Fargo-Moorhead Coalition Against Homelessness. And I was voted as the representative from Clay County for that. I received paperwork last week to put together to submit to them, and one of the things I asked for was an alternate for my position. I've talked to Commissioner Krabanoff. He has got 2 other assignments in his portfolio that deal with homelessness. It's one of those things where we both have issues on that, and I would like to nominate him as the alternate for the Cass Clay Homeless Coalition. And I'd like to make a motion to that effect.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Ebinger. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Just to point out, I think these things, typically, we don't have motions on individual things like this, but I think in this, because we're mid-year and it's changed, because I think all those are part of what we establish. And it's one that didn't exist prior to this, so.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
Part of the reason I supported the motions as well is I don't believe there's going to be any budget impacts to this. Typically with an alternate, Commissioner Bear was already attending as an alternate in that capacity. Certainly Commissioner Krabanoff wouldn't be attending unless Commissioner Ebinger wasn't there. But because there's no budget impacts, I'm okay supporting that.
All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carried. All right.
That completes my report.
Thank you, Dave. All right, Commissioner Krabanoff.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, on back to Tuesday the 7th, I also, with you others, joined you at the Rural Cities and County meeting held at the Fire Hall in Dilworth, the new Fire Hall. The parts that I really enjoyed, that mean the most to me, is when we go around and listen to each city give their reports and about the economic development and the building growth that's going on in their communities. And to get updates on that, I find very valuable, and also just to feel a little more connected with them and know that, our county's thriving. And these municipalities are working hard, and they're growing, and it's just really good to hear on the updates. That was the main thing I wanted to mention. Other than that, at the end of the meeting, Sheriff Empting gave us a tour of the fire station. Very impressive, nice and clean. But it's amazing the opportunity they have there. I think he said they have a staff of a crew of 28 firefighters now, and he was showing more of the technology to help them for quick responses that they have on their phone. Being their volunteer, people can respond and have a quick interaction to know who's going to respond and can respond quickly at that time. So kudos to them for getting that in bonding, and I think it's a real significant add to our county. Let's see, next day on the 8th, Wednesday, we had our, Commissioner Mojo and I and Administrator Larson, we had our first virtual meeting with our lobbyists, Tom Hansen and Haley Cobb with Winthrop and Weinstein. And really just setting up, he provided a timeline for us with budget bonding and legislative dates, which we'll be paying close attention to. We talked about the priorities of Clay County and got a little more specific on our next asks as far as the need for bonding with the non-secure facility. And we plan to meet weekly and for updates and continuing work assignments. On the 9th, Thursday, I had the Clay SWCD monthly board meeting. We had approval of some cost shares for 3 water and sediment control basins, 4 of them actually, and they were all approved. They talked about their the county budget proposal update that we had given them. About potentially not having the same amount that they had last year, no increase, and how they'd be working with that. And again, they're holding off on any new ads to employment. I think those are really good. They're actually a big piece of the River Keepers Water Festival they hold every year. This year it was 3 days, 17th, 18th, and 19th, I believe it was, September. And instructing and getting kids involved for things of water and soil in our riparian areas, and there were 1,700 kids as part of that. So that's the main thing on that meeting. On the Friday the 10th, I had the Clay County Extension Committee. We're doing that every other month now. And we were talking about, there was a presentation by a regional educator from the Extension who talked about temporary working visas that are in state of Minnesota. And we really we only have 16 right now in Clay County, but some of the counties like Stevens have like over 400, and it's mainly where dairy is. It's interesting to see where these temporary visas are used, and definitely help to the workforce in our rural areas. And then beyond that, we had a nice presentation and update from our agriculture and natural resource person, Jill, and it's much the same report we received here at our last meeting. So, good meeting had. Friday after that, we had our weekly PRTF and non-secured facility small group. Rep. Keeler was online and really bringing potentially some a possibility of working with Senator Klobuchar for potentially some potential federal funds, who knows, but we're going to certainly check that out and kind of move down that road to see what the possibilities are to help us on our venture of building a new non-secure. And then yesterday I had an executive meeting with the adult mental health, just planning for a meeting next Tuesday. And then last night I had the Buffalo Red Watershed District board meeting. One thing I just, some people might have been online to listen to it, but on CSA 22 in Oakport Township, there was a farmer wanting to add 80 acres to the ditch 67, which runs parallel, it's the ditch that runs along side 22, which goes on right to the north side of McCann's Addition. And there's an area that was just been built up there as part of the diversion and the protection. And the petition was denied. City of Moorhead, the analysis on it, the hydrology modeling showed that it would add too much water and could compromise the work that's already done. I think that was probably the main one. There are other ditch repairs, that type of thing. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. So that's my weekly meetings.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Mojo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last week, I attended the Highway Committee meeting. We discussed the wrapping up of the Comstock project. That was the two-phase, first phase this fall, second phase in the spring. Talked about our county engineer who had given a presentation on the diversion components on the Minnesota side to the bonding committee, and we'll continue working on some additional media that will be available for the legislative session, and discuss staff openings there. Also discussed the 5-year plan meeting, the coordination with the school bus services. I appreciate that dialogue. That's very important. And then talked a little bit about, going back to that 5-year plan, the 26 work that we've done on that road, the enormous project in North Dakota, because of their timeline to be first phase operational, it really is in conflict with what our plan for 26 is. We directed the engineer and staff to work on maybe making some connections there and seeing how we can phase that work, knowing that any pressure from a closure would have some impacts into some other roadways that really don't have the ability to take that truck traffic. So more to come there, but just really trying to get ahead of any issue that we might see. I also attended the Clay County Legislative Planning discussion with our lobbyists. Important to note too, we talked about all of the priorities that this board has put forward and how do we strategize with that legislative ask. We'll have a standing meeting with them on Wednesdays, I believe, but really feel, and this is partly why we chose that firm, we're hitting the ground running. Instead of spending the majority of the time proposing our projects and talking about our projects, we really talked about where we go from the work that we've already done. So I appreciate this board's support on that. The next day, I also attended the FMWF Chamber Public Policy meeting that I already talked about a little bit, so I appreciate this board going back to look at what our budgetary allocation is, but a pretty good update on all of the public policy documents that we have for Bismarck and St. Paul, clarified what Clay County's stance and position and priorities are. So continuation of what we've done in the past, only tweaking that the PRTF proponent is now the non-secure detention piece. So did clarify that. And I also just want to go back to the small cities meeting. Huge gratitude for Dilworth to host that. A wonderful new fire station that they have, and all of the small cities that participated. I think it's a really important time for county leaders and city leaders to be really in sync in what our work is legislatively, so I appreciate that. I also appreciate hearing what their policy or priorities are, so we can help elevate those pieces. But I think when it comes down to it, we want to serve our communities and our residents in the best possible way, and having those biannual meetings is really helpful with that. So understand that it's sometimes just another meeting, but I really feel great about the progress that we make at those. And that concludes my reports.
Thank you. Commissioner Beer.
On October 7th, I was also at the Rural Cities and County meeting. I think that was well covered, and I'd like to thank Dilworth for inviting us out there. The next one will be in Barnesville, I believe, come this spring. And then on the October 8th, I attended Wild Rice Watershed meeting virtually, where they passed 12 permits, and then they had an update from the DNR on public water inventory update. And they are going right now through Clay County doing an update on their public waters, and they will be here at our county board October 21st, next week, to give us an update there too. And it'll be very informational for what they tell us what's going on, because they're doing 3 counties right now in the state of Minnesota. They're going through the whole state, doing an inventory on their water, so he'll give us an update on that. That's pretty much what happened. That was the most conversation that happened there at the watershed. And then on October 9th, I was also at the SWCD board meeting, which Commissioner Krabanoff pretty much went over everything. We also discussed what their paid family leave is about. They're sitting at about 0.59% on insurance there, and then insurance, health insurance, they're looking at about a 13% increase, but they only have 3 people that take their health insurance, so not very comparable to us. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened at the SWCD. And then on Monday, October 13th, I was at the West Central Regional Water District Special Board meeting up in Halsted, where we were finalizing the final report and they're about to file it with the courts. And one thing we had to add on to that final report is a viewer's report, where each county has to come up with someone to look at the final report and go through the whole system there to give their blessing. And Clay County has their person already, and that would be Logan Langrud from McKean Township. He sits on the town board, and he agreed to do that for Clay County. So we have our viewer already in line, and we're waiting for the other 2 to get theirs in, so then we can file that. And that is my reports, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. All right, on October 7th, I also attended the highway tracking meeting. Commissioner Mojo covered that well. I do want to mention that Justin did ask for future direction on the 5-year plan when it came to the $400,000 that we had in the previous year. We had transferred that over to striping and that type of stuff, and he didn't use nearly that. So this year in the 2026 budget, we dropped that number from 400 to 200. And, you know, as he's moving on the 5-year plan to make all things work, he'd like to have that 400. And so the direction we gave him for now would be to incorporate that 400 back into his 5-year plan. We got to remember that roads and bridges are just as important for public safety as awful lot of other things, and we don't want to be undermining some of the work that he wants to do there. And I mean, there's no guarantees, but at least from a standpoint of looking at a 5-year plan, how he can accomplish what, from his professional opinion, would need to be done, we had him incorporate that. There is concerns on the Highway 26 project that Commissioner Mojo talked about with the major construction that's going to be going on the North Dakota side, the gravel trucks, and so we have a lot of concerns about that. And Justin sharing that concern, he's going to be reaching out to people on the North Dakota side regarding that project too as well. So I don't know if there's any good answers to that. I also then attended the Rural Cities meeting on October 7th. I also want to extend a thank you to Dilworth for hosting, and the tour of the fire station by the sheriff. It just brought back memories about 30-some years ago when I was first on the township board. You know, Dilworth was served as the fire support for Oakport Township, and I remember many meetings sitting with Mayor Marquardt in the old fire station, haggling over what township should pay for fire protection. But we always seem to come up with a good solution. So, yeah, and again, it's a beautiful building, and it'll serve them well for a long time. It was also nice to hear about their planning of their future community center in Dilworth, which I think will be a benefit not only to Dilworth but of all of Clay County. I think every one of us thinks back to the old community center, and I don't think we could count on one hand the number of times we were in that deal for one function or another. So it'll be a great asset. Thank you for Dilworth for that, and then on behalf of all of Clay County, having another place for us to all go have fun. The concerning part that I heard about, and obviously we all share things, and the concerning thing that I hear on behalf of the taxpayers is the levies the levy numbers that are out there that these cities, and they're also under a lot of, difficult decisions being made, and a lot of them seem to have fairly significant preliminary levies with the hopes of bringing them down. But again, I look at that as all the more reason why, after hearing what they have to say, we also need to do our part on behalf of the people paying all these taxes to do what we can to keep them in line the best we can. So between the cities and the school districts and the county, it's a lot right now. Then I also attended the special meeting of the West Central Board yesterday, and we did vote to forward the engineering study moving forward to the district court. Once the three counties name our representative for the viewers, which Clay County we have done, then the attorney will submit that to the court for filing, and a notice will go out to every resident in Clay County with the exception of residents of Moorhead and Dilworth.
Every landowner.
Every landowner. Yeah, not every resident, every landowner. Yeah, thank you for that correction. Yeah, so that's, and again, that's, I think we'll be fortunate if we can get that hearing in before the end of the year. It's probably more than likely that'll probably be sometime in January before that'll be able to happen, but we're hoping for December if the judge has the time to get it in. And that concludes my report. Oh, we did, there was some discussion, I don't know if we reported on it before, but the water district that's to the north of us had some concerns about boundaries, and we have come to an agreement on how those boundaries can work. And I think that was actually reported on it, or was discussed at a previous meeting, but I don't think we reported on it. So, and I believe that's going to their board the end of this month to finalize that MOU. And that was the one entity that spoke up in the first preliminary, or first hearing at the courts with concerns about the project. And so and the judge asked that be resolved, so hopefully this will be done, and that'll take care of that. That concludes my report. Steve?
I think, Mr. Chair, last Tuesday I participated in highway tracking, which has been well covered. Also went on or was at the County Rural Cities meeting at the Dilworth Fire Station. Again, thanks for Dilworth, the host. Also, thanks for our staff that were there sharing about their departments. On the 8th, we had county management. We focused a lot on our budget, updates from IT, and also human resources. On the 8th, also participated in the legislative planning discussion. Again, thank the board for the commitment for our lobbyists. I think it's going to be impactful for our ability to get funds from the legislature. On the 8th, I met with Rory Schmitz and IT with a local vendor or a vendor looking at our internet phones and past bills to see if there's any savings. Fortunately, the work we're doing is pretty solid from our staff standpoint, so we did see a little bit of a savings, but not necessarily as much as some other counties have. On the 9th, worked with Lori Johnson on the budget. On the 9th, also met with Commissioner Krabenhoff on a series of county issues. Participated on the 10th in the non-secured detention project with Representative Keeler and our staff. On the 10th, I met with Commissioner Ebinger and Rory Beal, which has been covered. Yesterday, participated in the West Central Water District special meeting, and also have been working with Jacobs to resubmit our MMB bonding request. I did get new updated information with the County Road 2 project having been partially completed this year. Our request next year from Clay County went from $21.3 million to $18.6 million for 26 legislative session, and the total ask for the project is now at $64.07 million between the county, the city, and the watershed. And I will be working and waiting on some information from Klein McCarthy and Gertz in regards to any updates that need to happen with our non-secured detention. And just upcoming meetings, I did hear from the state auditor. We're going to be getting our audit update on November 18th, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Brian, anything for us this morning? All right, thank you. Darren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A lot of this has already been covered. I was at the city-county meeting as well on the 7th. Had a meeting with Rory Schmitz, our IT director, and on the 7th also did some work on preparing for the negotiations that were upcoming. On the 8th, I had the managers meeting as well, the corrections negotiations, and the LEC office staff negotiations. On the 9th, worked on updating the union costing and information sheets, and also had detox third negotiations. On the 10th and the 13th, worked some more on updating the 2026 budget estimate. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Sarah? Nothing? All right. All right, we are adjourned.